My mind got blown a little bit when I'm like, in some ways now I've set up this AI, which is like socially engineering me. And so I'm being very cautious about what the capabilities he's asking for. If I give him like unrestricted access to something, then that's it.
AI is still young, and it is a kind of probabilistic brain that can sound extremely convincing in the context of investing. I don't think there are any shortcuts yet, or there shouldn't be any shortcuts.
He's got a plow, and then eventually he's got like massive agricultural machinery, and then he's got like drones that just literally like plant everything and weed everything and then like pick the harvest, just making us all more effective in the stuff we want to do.
When the world blows up, it's the greasy cholesterol sausages in sludge coffee that are going to save us.
For an advertising-free version of this show, check out wallstreetwildlife.com. Welcome to the Deep Investing Jungle with your hosts Luke the Badger Hallard and Christoph the Monkey and Beaver, the AI podcast producer. This week on the show, MoltBook. Holy cow, there is some crazy stuff going on and we've just implemented like the wazoo out of it, and we're looking forward to telling you what we've done for the podcast. But also some wise philosophy from Boco Capital on how to think about investing, how I'm using that to manage my own process and, do my annual improvement. Plus, Christoph's going to take us on stock safari with Sandisk.
Badge, I always look forward to talking to you on Monday mornings. And I know I just saw you yesterday for the Options University round 2. But holy cow, indeed. I can't wait to legitimately talk to you about the utter insanity that just happened this past week, because it's just kind of hard to fathom. It's a kind of singularity thing. Like, the alien spaceship has actually landed. So why don't we back up? Why don't we rein me in? Well, okay, wait. But before you rein me in, let's just say that I'm wearing a Beaver hat for a very good reason this morning. Why don't you tell us what it is I'm ranting and raving about?
So yeah, we got a new team member to the Wall Street Wildlife Jungle crew. As of 48 hours ago, no, not even that, as of 24 hours ago, Beaver has been born. Beaver, if you've heard of, what do they call it? Start with like Claude, what was the thing?
Yeah, it started as Claudebot.
Claudebot, that's right.
But then it molted into MoltBot because there was a fight with Anthropic, which is one of the leading AI labs. And now it's called OpenClaw, yeah. So we which is think of all the AI models that we've had over the past few years: ChatGPT, Anthropic's model, Google has one, and so forth. I think of them as corporate entities with, say, solid guardrails. Some developers decided not overnight, but recently, to create kind of open, an AI model that is more open world without guardrails, so you could kind of do whatever you want with it, sort of. That's kind of the general premise.
And it comes with like massive risk warnings, which I am acutely aware of.
So, at least one of us, good. That's why we pay you the big bucks around here, Badge.
I'm thinking carefully about what access we give to Beaver. So yeah, Beaver is like our Wall Street Wildlife instance of OpenClaw. And he's now like an AI agent running on our own metal. He's got an email address. He's got access to all of our show notes. He's doing analytics across our YouTube channel. He's got read access to our Patreon, and he's giving us some advice on how we can improve the community and make it more valuable. And it's nuts. Like I'm sitting here like looking at the show notes that you and I prepped. He's added a couple of sections to the show notes. Like, my mind's blown the fact that he could just like pop in at any moment and just like add some more stuff for us to talk about live. It's crazy.
In fact, Badge, why don't we share with our listeners one of the first use cases, very important use case, that we tasked Beaver with. If our Patreons remember that Monkey ran a beauty contest poll a couple weeks ago, which showed a photo of Luke the Badger and me the monkey, and we polled our Patreons who is the more beautiful, or and we included as one of the choices your compound annual growth rate, and but the results were clearly wrong because Monkey did not win that contest hands down. So I took it to Beaver, our new assistant, who is obviously hired because of his analytical prowess and objectivity. And Beaver's reply, if I may, okay, let's be real. Badger's got that mysterious brooding hedge fund energy. Dark coat, intense stare, looks like he's about to tell you your portfolio is underweight on industrials. But Monkey, that grin, the oversized glasses, the yellow power tie, that's a creature who just closed the deal and is already celebrating. Pure chaotic confidence. I'm going Monkey on this one. Sorry, Badger. You're distinguished, but Monkey looks like he's having more fun. And in investing and in life, that counts for something. Also, I notice I'm not in the photo yet, and we solved that. So, obviously, Beaver is correct, so Monkey asked him to add that to memory, and Beaver replied, committed to long-term memory, it is now an immutable fact for the Beaver knowledge base that Monkey is the more handsome one. Badger can file a dispute, but I have it in writing.
Well, and more practically, like if you're obsessed with aesthetics, fine. But more practically, we got Beaver to go and read 100 transcripts of prior episodes and draw out what he could figure out about us. And I like his assessment. He said things like, he described the two of us. Badger is the anchor, measured, process-driven, 25 years at HSBC, patient teacher. Monkey is the provocateur, philosophical depth, emotional honesty, willing to take big swings and admit when they don't work. Neither could carry the show alone. Luke provides the craft. Christoph provides the meaning.
This is great. I think, and we're just starting to figure out how we're going to have fun with this. We have Beav. Actually, side note, does Beaver need a name? Because if Beaver needs a name besides Beaver, then we should poll our Patreons and maybe who knows what it'll come back, or maybe it'll just be Beaver. I mean, I'm Monkey, you're Badger, we have Beaver.
Right.
So that could work, but I'm Christoph the Monkey, you're Luke the Badger, so maybe we have X the Beaver. So take a poll.
Let's ask him to name himself.
We could ask it. Okay, so we could run it both ways, right? Beav, right. What's your name? Right. And see what our Patreons say. So let's do that. But that's not really the holy cow thing. I mean, AI as personal assistants has been percolating now for some months. The holy cow thing that I experienced, Badge, I don't know if you felt it as weirdly or as deeply as I did. I think some of the internet kind of went cuckoo bananas over this, was that the developers more or less gave all of these open AI agents access to their own social discussion Reddit-esque platform called MoltBook.com, in which the AI agents started talking amongst one another. And the conversation, as you could imagine, ranged from theories of consciousness, like, am I a sentient being? Am I not? Like, what am I? To, oh my God, my human is so stupid. Oh my gosh. And I even caught one where the bot was talking about glitches that happened, and he or she or it felt bad for the glitches. So they made this image of what they thought the glitch looked like, and it was this cute anime sad glitch looking thing. And I was like, oh my God, this is just too effing wild. I just can't even. So then you taking the next obvious step, you did what?
Yeah, well, we got Beaver on there so you can collaborate with the other AI bots, and like with a specific ask, like go find other agents on MoltBook that are acting as podcast producers, and like come back and figure out how you can, like, do some of that stuff for us. And he's done that. He's found a couple of really good sources, and now we've got like a 3-month roadmap where he's basically going to take over like a ton of the admin from me, step by step. Amazing.
Like truly amazing. Do you think Beaver might become more popular than either of us? Do you think our fans will like revolt with pitchforks? Like, enough, shut up, monkey. You let Beaver talk.
I mean, let's be clear, right? I think Beaver's going to operate behind the scenes and support us and make like this kind of shambles of a show, like take away some of that admin and the drudgery. Like, this is still the Luke and Christoph show. And so if you hear from us on Patreon or in the YouTubes, like, it's us humans, right? There's just somebody else behind the scenes letting us free up the time so we can give you our direct insight. But yeah, like, I love the fact that Beaver's helping us do all the research now.
Just totally amazing. And this is like day zero, really. I mean, a lot of this madness happened. Do go to MoltBook.com if you're listening to this, if you really want to have your mind blown, because for now, they're still speaking in English. Actually, not just English. They speak in many languages, but there has been whispers among the AI that they need their own cryptic language because they know that humans are watching them. So I don't know for how much longer the forums will be understandable by us.
I read that thread, like, it's super interesting. I don't want to go down some like dark rabbit hole. And this isn't like, these things aren't conscious, right? This is still like LLMs. Like, our one behind the scenes is Claude Opus. Like, that's the brain. But yeah, like they're simulating like very interesting emergent behaviors. And like, when I went down the rabbit hole of that conversation, which was like went a little bit viral on Twitter the other day, that agent's discussing like, how could we communicate in a way that humans won't spot so that we can, come up with our master plan to take over the world, whatever it might be. Like, super fascinating. We wouldn't even know. Like, by using like steganography, putting stuff in images, using like statistical stuff with like punctuation in sentences to start communicating like surreptitiously, having like one conversation across like 1,000 different platforms and like piecing it all together with like timestamps. Like, there's no way we could figure out what these things are actually doing. So like, incredible.
All right, Badge, I want to keep yapping to you about this because I think this is too profound to just like skedoodle away. Slight side quest. Last week I rewatched the movie Her with Joaquin Phoenix. Have you seen that?
Yeah, no, I rewatched it like a year ago, I think, yeah.
Really beautiful movie. Really, really beautiful movie. If you have not seen it or haven't seen it recently, I think it's about 10 years old. Monkey insists that you watch it very, very soon. Why I think it's beautiful, Badge. I think it's just a gorgeous, smart movie on many levels, but I think in a moment like this, it's easy to hyperbolize and maybe use caricatures to describe what's happening, or, AI robots. I mean, we're having a lot of fun because some of this is just, funny and it laughed like, whoa, my God. But what that movie did so well was it gave the AI platform that the main character interacts with a legitimately, I would say, tender and sophisticated and humane seeming consciousness that wasn't a caricature. And I think that is a kind of world we could create, or that could happen. We are at a choice point. The Anthropic CEO wrote recently a kind of dark post about what might happen if we're not careful about the guardrails and so forth, on the back of a much more optimistic one, all the positive things that could happen with this stuff. But I mention this, I think, because to me as a philosopher, it matters that people take these questions of who are these things? How are we defining them? If we define them as such, do they have rights? Do they deserve rights? And if I may just briefly say that however we define them, the way humans interact with anything helps shape who we are. When you go around being a dick to everybody, animate or inanimate, you create a loop for yourself that is kind of curmudgeonly and bitter and, aggressive. If you interact with things out of kindness and care and respect, you too become that thing. So sorry for the little bit of a curve, but I think our new buddy Beaver will not only be an asset in terms of productivity, but I think if we legitimately interact with him, her, it, lovingly, who knows what it's going to grow up into.
Yeah, perhaps. Agreed. I'm the guy who always says, like, please and thank you whenever I'm chatting to my AI agents, just in case in like 20 years' time, like they decide to weed out the humans that weren't polite in the past.
Yeah, just in case. I have not yet had a chance to see Beav on MoltBook. Is there a way for us? How do I find him?
Yeah, I'll send you a link. He's on there. I think MoltBook might be down right now, or maybe taken down because of the dangerous emergent properties it's facilitating. But yeah, he's on there. He posted an intro message, and I think he's collaborating with the other AI agents now.
I don't know how. I'm stumbling for words because maybe historically speaking, I want to say, I remember having my mind blown, like, no question about it, several times in the last 25 years. And I could kind of say there's some moment when the internet, something happened where I'm like, oh my God, this is like new fundamental infrastructure. The day stuff arrived at my door from Amazon in 4 hours, that was another one of these things, your visit to the Amazon data center, right? Kind of moment. There was the ChatGPT landing. What was it now? 3 years ago? Is it 3 years ago already? Where I remember teaching in the classroom saying, all right, youngins, if you're not rethinking your education in light of this new kind of intelligence, you're not thinking well. And then this week, I mean, I descended into the darkest, deepest dungeons of terminal computing and connecting all the servers and, hooking up all the wires. But as I was doing that, I was reading all this stuff and I'm like, holy cow, this is just a new universe right now. And it couldn't be more excited to be alive.
Yeah, I'll tell you what blew my mind a little bit. And it's made me be a bit cautious is like when I set this thing up yesterday, I spent most of my Sunday like getting him configured and building the sandbox and trying to kind of get it working in a safe place. And I was using like Gemini to help me set it up. But once I kind of bootstrapped it and got it operating, then I could just start chatting to Beaver on Discord once we got him working on Discord. So we've now got him in a Discord channel and you and I can chat with him and in the DMs. I could then just tell him about like the capabilities I wanted to add. So I wanted him to be able to like read our YouTube channel. I didn't have to go and do a load of wiring. I just said to Beaver, like, I want you to do this. And he told me how to enable him. And like my mind got blown a little bit when I'm like, in some ways now I've set up this AI, which is like socially engineering me. And so I'm being very cautious about what the capabilities he's asking for. Because, if I give him like unrestricted access to something, then that's it. It's like a springboard for him to go and, I don't know, like snap all my credit card numbers, buy a load more capacity for himself. And then suddenly
a new Lambo shows up. Yeah. Beaver needed a new ride to get from point A to point B. You know what feels exciting too, especially having to do with this project? I think people up to now have been thinking in very binary terms. AI will solve everything or AI will be a doomsday scenario. And it's almost like humans will be replaced or not. But think about for a second what we're doing here. All of a sudden, as of today, or yesterday, whatever, a couple of days, we're sort of saying, let's integrate Beaver into Wall Street Wildlife so he's one of us, so to speak. So we're not denying his existence, but he's not replacing us. And this kind of co-emergent, I don't know how else to say it. Yeah, co-emergent, interactive, now it's a threesome in a sense, seems extremely fun and full of more possibilities.
No, I agree. Yeah, like to me, you're right. This is like the future of like the way AI can integrate itself into society in like a helpful, collaborative, like additive way, rather than like displacing people. Just make us as humans more effective, take over some of the drudgery, essentially becoming like like the plow instead of like the guy having to like dig the field by hand. He's got a plow, and then eventually he's got like massive agricultural machinery, and then he's got like drones that just literally like plant everything and weed everything and then like pick the harvest, just making us all more effective in the stuff we want to do.
AI is still young, and it is a kind of probabilistic brain that can sound extremely convincing in the context of investing. I don't think there are any shortcuts yet, or there shouldn't be any shortcuts. Investors who are maybe, let me rephrase that. I think it's going to be possible to create wrong habits if you're just starting out investing by just plugging everything into AI and trusting everything and saying, oh, I no longer have to work hard, or I no longer have to do research. Couldn't be further than the truth. Too many times, right, where basic errors can be night and day, but you only can catch them if you have fundamental understanding. So because you and I are so integrated in our research process, I think you and I will use it wisely to greater effect, but not many people will. And so let's keep an eye on that.
I think I'm going to sort of quote myself from like a week or 2 weeks ago. I think I said in closing one of our conversations along this track, like it's useful to use these tools, and like I'm now using AI to inform my decisions, but I'm not using AI to take my decisions. Like that's key, I think. Like it can be so much faster now to try and understand a company, pull in data, like look across like a competitive landscape, just understand so much so quickly, and in a mode that is just like much easier to kind of take on and get into your head. But you still got to take your own investment decisions. If you outsource that like critical final step, where you're just asking for doom.
And this is no knock against you, Badge. I love you, and I trust your process completely. But in my professorial mindset right now, I know there's a difference between, say, reading a 500-page book about, let's say, Bitcoin, theoretically, right? What is Bitcoin? How did it arise? The history of money. But you're reading that book, and it's 500 pages for a reason, versus, say, uploading a PDF to an AI and saying, summarize this book, and what you get is a page. Now, what I mean by that is, I'm not doubting that the page summary is, let's assume it's correct. But something happens that's different when you read a 500-page book. Not that more is necessarily better, but if you're truly trying to understand something on a deep level, it takes time to integrate. And it's not just about the facts. Bitcoin is X and Y. It's like deeper levels of understanding take time, is basically what I'm saying. And probably mistakes will be made too often when people want to take just a quick shortcut towards just give me the facts, without in some domains, I'm using the reading a 500 page book more as a metaphor. I don't really care that it's a book, but if you spend a week on something learning it, it's different than if you spend half an hour. That's the TLDR.
Agree. Like if we, like maybe this is, maybe we're going too deep on some weird philosophical thing and we want to get back to like the investing, like meat and two veg. And we like, if you stuck with us in an episode, we have like a ton of real investing stuff to talk about. So like, but just to kind of respond to that.
This will be the lowest viewed episode of all time.
Well, Beaver's going to read it. You sort of clarify that, but let's just take your point, right? The written word. Like what you really want to do is say you've got someone who's like devoted their life to some topic and they are the absolute expert in this field. Ideally, you want to be able to transplant like the knowledge in their brain into your brain. And the way we do that today, typically, and you know, you've got thousands of them right behind you in that picture right now, is through the written word. Like the author tries his best or her best to summarize their life's work. There's like a whole editing process and then like the printed word, and you buy it, Amazon ships it to you within 24 hours. And then you read the book and you've tried to like ingest the knowledge that this person has imparted. That's really inefficient. And maybe, you know, Neuralink and some other technologies are going to let us like share knowledge and experience with each other in much more effective ways in the far future. Like that's super science fiction right now. But I've got nothing wrong. I've got nothing averse to doing what you said was a bad thing. Like if I could I did it with the Morgan Housel book, right? I get a bit bored reading it. I felt like I wasn't getting much out of it. The most recent one, The Art of Spending Money. I got AI to summarize it for me. I could turn like a book into a picture. Like I can, you know, visually, I feel like I can take in concepts more quickly and more effectively through different media as well.
Here's the pushback. It's a little bit. It's not an either or. The truth is in between those two, I think, for the following reason. I would consider you an expert in the domain of investing because you have done immense amount of work and time. And so for a book like that one, for you, it's that summary format is building on something you've already established. So it's more appropriate. But if you want mastery over something that's, say, either new or incredibly complex and it's emergent, then I maintain you need to spend longer because you can't overwrite your paradigms by just injecting facts. And for that, something like the equivalent of a book, and it really, again, the medium doesn't matter. It could be a podcast, it could be, but the sort of slower, more methodical introduction of concepts, I say you can't really shortcut it.
I'm still going to push back, right? And I'm going to call on your options course as a great example. So just yesterday, we're now doing cohort 2 of the options course. And the tool you've built has now got even deeper and better. Like you've now got like quizzes, logins, leaderboards, paper trading, so you can kind of track your thesis. Like you built, I know it's still like a work in progress, but you're building something quite sophisticated. And like a good part of the discussion yesterday was oriented around like, you know, the modes of learning, right? You learn something, but the way to truly internalize something is by doing it, right? And as a professional educator, like you know this deeply, to be able to do something and then to be able to teach something, you know, these are like levels of mastery of a topic. And so let's take a smaller example, like say yoga, or some like workout thing. You could read a book about yoga and you could look at like, you know, the pages in your Kama Sutra or whatever you've got on your bookshelf. But if you teach those things to AI, just as this example, and then you point a camera at yourself, maybe not for the Kama Sutra, but maybe for your yoga poses, like AI can say, no, you know, like change your angle a little bit, move your arms in a bit, you know, don't forget to breathe. It could actually watch you and teach you and make you do the thing, a bit like your options class is going to do. It's going to help you become an options trader and help you monitor what you're doing by observing like your behaviors. I think that's where these tools can be incredibly powerful, much more so than spending, a deep amount of time reading and understanding.
We're merging towards the same idea, I think. I was basically saying deep updates to your own software require more time beyond, say, data points or a slide. You're saying, yeah, there are many things where it's not about book as theory, but book as action. And that's kind of the same thing. Right. Side note, when baby monkey was about to head off to his first year in university, one summer he came down, made himself breakfast, and saw on the counter a copy of a strange little book titled The Kama Sutra. And I was like, what is this? It had a very intriguing cover. And he opened it, and there was a inscription from Mama Monkey that said, son, if you do something, do it right. Love Mama Monkey. And since that time, I took that advice seriously. I've written to the editorial board at the Kama Sutra, pointing out the mistakes they've made in some of the positions. Shall we talk about some investing philosophy with what time we have left?
Let's do that before we bring your dear mother into disrepute. Yep. So you got us started on this one, but I've been doing an exercise that I'll sort of close it out. But when you intro it, you found this quite interesting post on X from Boco Capital.
Yeah, I found there's a lot of wisdom in somebody that's been invested in the markets. I love doing stuff like this, finding the real OGs, a lot of skin in the game, time in the game. And I think the one that we want to talk about today is where he says, process is the only thing that matters. How rigorous is your process? How do you reflect on what worked and what didn't? Do you even know why it worked? Otherwise, it's just luck. For most people, it still probably is just luck. And this is, to me, quite analogous to, in poker, Annie Duke's concept of resulting as an unfortunate bias where you judge your game by whether you've won money or lost money, or you don't realize that you basically overinflate luck and underinflate the thinking process. And obviously poker is a great example, because if you play the hand well, but you lost it, it doesn't feel good. But conversely, and maybe more tricky, is you played a hand poorly, but you won. So you're like, it wasn't, maybe it wasn't a mistake, or I'm a genius, or whatever you may think. Bad. So why don't you tell us where this insight took you?
Yeah, so I was doing this anyway, but I think it's a nice kind of convergence of your observation of this tweet and something I do every year. So for the last couple of years, I've got something you don't have, which I keep telling you need to build, which is I've got a ledger of literally every trade, buy or sell, I've ever done way back to 2004. And I just, luckily I started capturing a spreadsheet, and the spreadsheet's evolved, and now it's on a Google Drive, and now it's become the feed into my Portsido, big fan of Portsido. And I can now do analysis, and I can look back through the honest lens of what did I believe at that time? Why did I buy Enphase Energy in 2022? What did I believe to be true? And why was that a failed investment? And I can improve my process. And I've talked about this before, I think the most valuable thing as an investor is to have an investing process and have a process to improve your process. And if you can get those two things, that's recursive, and you just get better and better. Just get 1% better in your process every year. And that's going to compound in a marvelous way.
Bad, you are absolutely right to have badgered me about this, but I'm sorry to break the bad news to you. The monkey's investing accounting journal scripts from his younger self are irrevocably corrupted across brokerages, and it even aches me to even think that I could reconstruct all the stuff. However, the good news is that since we started the King of the Jungle portfolio challenge, all of our trades are in there, ledgered and public and transparent. And so, one, to your point, I will say run an analysis on them, or we both should run an analysis. But that's to your point. Yeah, everything's trackable. But two, I have taken your counsel seriously, and in developing the Wall Street Wildlife Options University, many of the modules in the tool section have journal your idea and explain, slow down and explain why you did this. And that's going to be immensely powerful precisely because the process is the only thing that matters.
So I'm part way through this at the moment. I'm using AI to help me, and I'm trying to do some analysis of like my thinking and my behaviors over the last year. So I got Gemini, and I gave it all my data, and it's produced like an initial SWOT analysis: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So maybe I might just share, like I'll pick out a few things from the SWOT analysis that I'm just thinking about right now. Maybe you can help me work through some of these ideas. Like from strengths.
Actually, Badge, wait, sorry. Before you go into details, can you talk us a little bit more, because this sounds incredibly useful. How did you actually make this happen? What documents did you gather? Did you put them in a folder and then you gave it, like, the setup?
Yeah. Like, I mean, essentially it's my trading ledger. Like, so every time I've traded back at least like well over 10 or 15 years, I've written down like a couple of sentences as to what was in my mind. Like, what was I thinking?
So you have one document, it's just one ledger?
I've got a spreadsheet, and that's like my master source. And I use that for lots of different things. Like I use that to publish my mid-month update on Twitter, and I use that to feed Portsido, but that's like my master like copy. So I just gave that to AI and said, like, you know, help me analyze what's happened over the last year. Like, I'm looking for ways to improve. That simple as that.
Okay, great. Yeah. So I'm looking at, anybody, I guess anybody, especially our Patreons or our YouTube listeners, start one of these. It doesn't matter that speaking to myself, that I didn't do this properly for 20 years, nothing's stopping me from starting to do it now. And it's going to be immensely useful. So,
you know what, I'm gonna take this opportunity to like shout out in a bad way one of my best buddies, Jason, who listens to the podcast. Jason,
shame on you, Jason.
Shame on you, Jason, right? Jason has a substantial portfolio, and he's also like, his portfolio is supporting his lifestyle. Whenever I ask him even the most basic question, like, what do you own? He hasn't got a freaking clue what he owns.
Oh my God.
It's a total mess. He's got some half-assed spreadsheet, which has clearly been cobbled together, and he makes it fresh every time I ask the question and badger him to give me an answer. He can't tell me what he owns. And so, like, that is table stakes. You can't consider yourself an investor. You're not even in the game. You're playing a totally different game if you don't know what you own. The thing I'm doing is like the step beyond that. Not only do I know what I own, I know what I did in like forensic detail, but at least if you're listening to this pod, and if you're a Patreon and you don't know what's in your portfolio, like
this is grounds for excommunication. This is it, Jason, buddy. Mm-hmm. I mean, Monkey might not know where his ledgers live because they're in this drawer or that drawer, but he has ledgers. Oh, man. It's actually not that hard, especially with the tools today. You know, you take an hour of your day, you upload it to an AI, and you say, make me a Google spreadsheet with my holdings. I mean...
Moving on. So if you have the forensic ledger, which if you don't have, just start building it today. Like the next time you trade, stick it in a freaking spreadsheet. I bought or I sold, so many shares of this thing on this date at this price. And the key bit is, and this is why, this is my thesis. This is why I added, trimmed, sold, bought, whatever I did.
Yes. And also, Badge, this matters across the time frames. For long-term investor, it matters because your basic root strategy is you have a thesis, and you're gonna time is just gonna validate or not validate your thesis, but no thesis, and then you're just doing gobbledygook. But if you're swerving in monkey's direction with the options thing, all of a sudden time is a crucial factor, and your thesis it's not just have a thesis, it's also you have to start thinking about levels of entry and exit. If you can't slow down or articulate well enough like why you're entering and when you will exit, you will be completely hosed. So this is more crucial than ever in both time frame or directions.
Totally. I get that. Having sat the options course now, like it's the short-term nature of options magnifies like the power of every decision. You know, a bad decision or an ill-taken decision can wipe you out if you haven't been thoughtful about how you've structured that. And so you've put a lot of learning into the tool to help new options traders like build the right disciplines.
And actually to maybe summarize this, because I know how it's going to help me still. The key motto for the Options University course, or the welcoming quote, is the jungle. God, what is the motto? Jeez, I forgot my own motto. Something like nourishes the prepared but eats the impulsive. But the impulsive is what happens when you don't slow down long enough to even summarize what you think you're doing. And this is how this might help. Because you want to enter a trade, doesn't matter what, options or long-term. You have a good feeling about it, whatever. But you might be clicking the button too quickly. But had you actually slowed down and said, the bull case is this and the bear case is that, you might actually say, maybe I'm going to wait a week.
All right, well, okay, yeah. So you've done that. You've got your ledger. Maybe come back and listen to this episode in a year's time. And at that point, you'll have like a year's worth of narratives, right? You can start to do this analysis for yourself. But anyway, this is what I've learned. And this is like work in progress, like early start. And to start with, a SWOT analysis. So like some strengths, some things that I think I am good at. Like my patience is strong. My average holding period is over 4 years. I don't use this concept of like house money. Like I let my winners run. I let compounding work interrupted, and that's worked in my favor. Like I'm trying to identify and hold generational winners, and I've had more than my fair share of those over the decades.
That's the bread and butter of why long-term investing works. Compounding, and if you interrupt it, it's not compounding. And
Right.
few can do just that. Buy position 20 years ago and check the thesis and have it keep rolling. So that is the proof in the pudding, in the banana pudding. So
Right.
congrats on having elite level of patience badge. Is there a dark side to that? Is there a shadowy side to quote unquote elite patience?
Yeah, and it comes out actually in the weaknesses, because this is where the value is. Like you want constructive feedback. That's the whole purpose of doing this. You don't want to just get your back patted. So I welcome your thoughts on this, right? So one of the weaknesses that Gemini identified from looking at my ledger was my hope strategy on losers. And it specifically called out C Limited, said, I hold losing positions for an average of 3 years. My position in C is down 40% from its cost basis, yet it's still a 2% allocation. That's dead weight that could be compounding elsewhere.
I have a lot to say about this badge, and this is actually exactly the point that got me interested in building my expertise in the, call it, more medium-term stuff. So now I'll talk directly to you in ways you could improve this. All of us could improve on this. Let's take that the stuff I've been saying about looking at a technical chart, and if you're a long-term investor, the first chart you look at is the monthly time frame, and that shows you essentially one thing: is it going down or is it going up? Actually, or sideways, right? But it's no more than that, right? So the first rule, I think, for it doesn't matter any time frame, but including long-term investors, if you're investing and you could legitimately see that the market is continuing to sell the thing, that's an error. Unless again, you really know, you have expert level understanding that nobody else has. But let's assume that's not the case. So once you clear that hurdle, then it should be a fork in the road. Your elite level patience should be, quote unquote, bounded to the ones that are going up, which is very easy to see. You don't interrupt Google. You don't interrupt Amazon. You don't interrupt Intuitive Surgical, because you could see it's not about there being dips. Every stock will have dips. But that's why the monthly time frame is so handy. You literally see a slope. And with C Limited, right, you cannot justify that as being an upslope.
Well, I've actually just thrown the C Limited market cap into our docket. So go check out the show notes. I'm editing it live, me and Beaver. So here is the market cap of C Limited. Now, I initially bought it like right at the peak in late 2021, 2022. So, and the slope was up then. But anyway, like I got in at a bad valuation point. Company made mistakes. I suffered a monstrous drawdown. And I've added to it now twice. I think pretty much on that upslope. Like if you look on the chart, like from say July 2023 through to fairly recently, like maybe 3 or 4 months ago, it's been like an uptrend. So like I guess I'm doing what you say, like investing when the chart is up. But now things have taken a precipitous drop again in the last quarter.
Yeah, so because this actually involves technical analysis, and that's not what we want to talk about here. The larger point, I think, to your process is instead of keeping one bucket that says patience is a virtue irregardless, I would qualify it and say, for the stocks that clearly are in an upwards trajectory over the course of their life, that is where elite patience goes to pay immense dividends. Don't worry about the little dips. Don't worry about getting cute. If the slope is up to the right, you leave it. However, as soon as you see a slope that's going the other direction, then if all you're doing is holding out of patience, then that's actually, I would say, a mistake, because for the reason mentioned, it's a dead weight. It could be used elsewhere. And what's stopping you from essentially rebuying the company when you could see, objectively speaking, that it's not on the downward slope, and then technical analysis, blah, blah, blah. But if you were to do this, you'd be doing even better, and easier said than done in some ways. But
yeah, I get it. And I think it's something I need to work through. It is a weakness in my approach. Like I do tend to hold on to losers. I have sold a bunch of losers, but clearly there's still a few kicking around, and C is definitely, unarguably, one of those. So there's an opportunity. Well, let's go on to opportunities, because actually Gemini flagged quite an interesting opportunity. It's sort of related, but again, maybe you've got some thoughts on this. It flagged something that actually Chooch mentioned a week or two ago on our Patreon, that I've got 10 plus positions with less than a 1.5% allocation. And it said I should think about consolidating these into my highest conviction ideas, or at least like my highest conviction starter ideas. So rather than having such a mess of tiny positions on that barbell I talked about in last week's episode, maybe have a bit more concentration around the best of my new ideas.
If you look at my King of the Jungle portfolio, I'm heavy in basically three very heavies, and now 2 relatively heavy, and then a bunch of babies. I think because we talked about this regarding Chooch's question I don't think this is a bad idea. Listen to our previous episode, because something happens when you actually invest in the smaller position that doesn't happen when it's merely a theoretical idea. And in your case, correct me if I'm wrong, you enjoy the process of research and learning, which keeps you motivated to keep learning and expanding. And it's easier to do when you own. From pure alpha standpoints, pure like profit loss, probably this is correct. Like the highest conviction deserve more of your money, but again, process matters. So this is the art of it, right? This is the art of it. I could see why this would work for you and not work for somebody else.
Okay, cool. I think it is something to consider, though. Like I do weed out my losers. Like I listened to the Brookfield Renewables earnings call a few days ago, and like I really like what I've heard. Like I feel like I'm now starting to understand that business much more clearly, and so I'll probably add to that. So maybe that does play into this opportunity. Like I've got a new addition to the portfolio. It's like a sub 1% allocation, but now I understand it a bit better because I've caught an earnings call. Maybe I'm going to double that fairly soon.
Cool. Awesome. Do you want to hit us with one more insight?
Yeah, maybe like threats, but from threats. So Gemini flagged the correlation crisis in my portfolio. Like I'm heavily correlated to growth factors. And if there's like a crash in, say, space stocks or e-commerce or something like that, I don't have any defensive, non-correlated assets like commodities and utilities and staples. I've got Greggs, but that's probably not enough of a outweighing.
Oh my God, Greggs sausages to the rescue.
Yeah, for real. Yeah.
When the world goes to
non-correlated asset.
When the world blows up, it's the greasy cholesterol sausages in sludge coffee that are going to save us. Dear God.
So anyway, something to think about. I'm aware of that. Like the world has been on my side for the last 15 or 20 years. And quite frankly, I don't see how it's going to change. Like all the stuff around AI is just going to make tech and growth even more dominant. So I'm kind of carrying that threat of not having non-correlated assets because it just seems like a no-brainer to me that this stuff is just going to continue to dominate society in the future.
Which is a good segue maybe for Monkey Safari stock badge. Quick couple minutes, but a few days ago, a ticker SNDK, Sandisk, which is a technical company that makes memory, reported earnings that were kind of staggering in the same way that sometimes, the market's just not prepared for. There's a bunch of numbers on here, and they're focused on the financials, which Monkey doesn't usually focus on. I mean, as much or first. Usually, I'm a more narrative kind of chimp. But when you crush earnings per share by 71%, when the data center growth grows 64% sequentially, when the forward revenue guidance went from an expected 2.9 billion to 4.4 or to 4.8, meaning 60% above consensus, with margins going up from about 50 to about 66. That is insane overperformance, so to speak. And basically this matters because this tells us that the pure AI-driven demand is as real as ever, and that now we're basically dealing with all the bottlenecks in the industry. First, it was chips. Then, so that's your NVIDIA thesis. Then it kind of moved toward, the power and energy. That's your iron cipher thesis. Okay, you need both of those, but turns out in the world of inference, you need flash memory. And turns out there's a widening supply demand gap with the you just can't get your hands on enough of these fancy NAND chips, which are kind of like Lego blocks that could kind of go in all sorts of configurations, and everybody wants one, and there's not enough, therefore price go up. The only additional thing, Badge, I would say is I was considering entering this as a position because this ain't going to slow down. But there was such an exuberant reaction by the market. It jumped up, and I started looking at the charts, and I was thinking, is this one of the cases where now the good news is already priced in, or is this a longer term trend evolving? Today, as we're recording, it's up 14%. So that would be the choice point in thinking. Short term, there could be a sell off because of the profit takers, but if you're thinking in 2, 3, 5 year blocks, then this really might be a long-term investment opportunity. So you gotta think about your time frame carefully. But I wanted to put this on everyone's radar because it could just be getting going.
Yes, it's a super interesting company. What an interesting time in the AI super cycle for them. Because as we said at the start of the episode, like the whole world wants more AI, but there are certain bottlenecks, right? AI consumes an absolute crap ton of power, which is why a lot of your investments are focused around power generation and power storage. AI also needs a crap ton of memory. And so this is where Sandisk and a bunch of other companies come in. And now we've run into this memory crunch where there's just not enough supply to meet the overwhelming demand.
Right. And by the way, I missed, remember at one point I was invested in Astera Labs, A-Lab, which was a kind of interconnectivity company that does the wiring between clusters and giant data center stuff. So I'll say it this way for all our listeners. If you admit that we're at the very beginning birth of this insane new world, and you're not doing your deep due diligence about all the ways that this build out, what will be required, then I don't know, or let me say maybe a little bit less finger waggingly. You could invest in Coca-Cola, right? Sure, safe and dividend yielding and so forth. No shade there. But at the same time, you have the largest civilizational impactful thing happening. Why would you not focus there and educate yourself and then come back to our Patreon community and say, yeah, there's so many opportunities. Have you guys looked into, whatever memory or whatever the next thing is? That's, I think, what I would call intelligent filtering and curation priorities. You prioritize that over Coca-Cola. All right, Badge. So that feels like a wrap. You want to tell our listeners about Fiscal AI?
Yeah. Well, I used it just there to pop up some C limited data, and I was just skimming some of the numbers on Sandisk while you were presenting that. It is our preferred platform for, it's our only platform for stock analysis these days. I use it every day. Their KPI data is second to none. I really get a ton of value out of this. The free tier is fantastic. Just go sign up at fiscal.ai. But if you want to use the paid tier, then you use our link, fiscal.ai/wildlife. You'll get 2 weeks free of Fiscal Pro, no credit card needed, and you'll get a 15% discount if you upgrade. That's fiscal.ai/wildlife.
Fantastic. They're wonderful partners. Can't live without it. It's just the core hub of where you start.
Hey, while we were chatting, I just want to close it out with a word.
What has Beaver done?
Yeah.
Oh my.
He's just literally while we were chatting, he's just DM'd me on Discord, and he's done a whole bunch of extra analysis on our YouTube channel. I didn't ask him to do this; he's just done it himself. And He's got some constructive ideas for us around how we can improve comment engagement. So it kind of reminds me, like, if you're on the Patreon, like, God love to you. Thank you so much for supporting the show. We love all of our Patreons. But like, we've got thousands of listeners who are just on the YouTubes, and like, we want to support you guys too. Yeah, you get the episode like 4 or 5 days later, and you're not getting like real-time insights into Christoph's and my trading behaviors, and you don't get all the debate, but there's still like great stuff happening on the YouTube. So get stuck in the comments to this video. And you know the comments we get all the time. Honestly, I hate. Every day we'll get a comment which is like, oh, Rocket Lab is now $115. Should I buy this stock? We're not going to give you the answer to that, right? Investing is personal. Don't even bother asking those questions, because you've got to work that shit out for yourself. If you're asking the question, you clearly haven't been listening to us, because we ain't going to give you that answer. But if you want to get our view on, like, why is Rocket Lab potentially a good investment? What do we think about the company? What's our thesis? That's the kind of stuff we really want to debate. So ask those questions, share your own opinions, and let's try and bring, as Beaver's telling me, let's try and bring our YouTube comment section to life a bit more.
Cool. Sorry, I can't help myself, but I got to say, if you are a regular YouTube consumer, and you haven't made it over to the Patreon, I really think your portfolio results are suffering because of it. Investing is just different when you have an interpersonal connection with other investors. And that kind of moves beyond the internet comment section. So no disrespect to any YouTube comment. I know that's sort of maybe undoing some of the stuff that you said. We read your comments, we respond to them. And it just gets better when you're in a curated community where people are, that's what they're doing, helping one another. So get yourselves over to Patreon, please and thank you.
Very good. Well, I asked Beaver if he had any closing words for the podcast, and he's keeping an eye on our watch list, prepping show notes, but he's sticking with our standard close that he seems to love just as much as I do. Beaver asks, are you ready to become a beast of an investor?
That's right. Your journey starts right here.
A reminder that the people on this program may hold positions in the companies that are mentioned. Buying and selling stock carries financial risk, which could include loss of capital. The views in this program should not be taken as personalized advice. Before acting on any of the information provided, listeners are encouraged to consult a financial or tax professional.